In this tutorial, I'm going to show you quick TWS API examples in Jupyter Notebook. TWS API is Interactive Brokers Trading API that you can use for backtesting and algorithmic trading. So we're going to need Python 3 installed on our platform. Then we will need a TWS trading account, which you can see on the right side here. And then the dependencies we're going to use is pandas, plotly, and TWS API. In the import section, we are importing a configuration file that is required to connect to our TWS platform. So from config, we import host, port, client ID, and IB account. So as you can see, we have a folder TWS API Jupyter where we can find our config.py file. And inside this file, we are defining the variables. So here we see that we have set the host to localhost, the port to 7497, and then we specify the client ID, which can be any number you want. It is basically just a unique identifier of your TWS client. In this case, I set it to 0. Then we also need to set the IB account, which is the account ID of TWS. So this value right here, you can find up here in the TWS platform. And by the way, if you don't know what your port number is, you have to make sure that you check global configuration. And then in settings, you can find the socket port here. Then also please make sure that ActiveX and socket client is enabled. And if you want to enable trading features, disable the read-only API. And also, if you click on the precaution section, make sure that you bypass all the precaution alerts. So this is the configuration file. So once this is set up, you can just import it here. And then you see that we also import pandas and plotly for later use. And also lastly, we are also importing the TWS client. So in TWS client.py, we are basically implementing the TWS native API using TradeApp. So here, these are all the functions that you can find in the official TWS API documentation. And down here, you will also find a class which is called TWS wrapper client. So this is a class written by us. And what this class is doing is it's supposed to simplify the methods used to retrieve TWS data. So it is using the Trade app as its backend, but we are handling all the requests in the background, so we can focus on things such as simply getting the account data, getting the positions, getting the orders. So this class should help beginner traders to actually just focus on the backtesting and algorithmic trading itself, rather than trying to implement it from the developer side. So this is it, regarding the imports and the configurations. So let's now proceed to showing you what this TWS wrapper client is actually able to do. So first, we need to connect to the TWS platform, and so to do that, we are creating an instance of the TWS client class by calling TWS wrapper client and adding the host, port, client ID, and the IB account as input. So let's run this. So now our class has been created, and if you see, you will find some notification with error -1. Don't worry about that, because this is just TWS letting us know that there is some notification on the back end. So it's basically just letting us know that actually everything's okay, so we don't actually have to treat it as an error. So once you see this output, then we know that the TWS client is connected to our platform, and we can now access various endpoints, such as retrieving account data. So in this example, we are calling the method TWS client.getAccountData. And if we run this, we will get a dictionary that contains data such as account balance and account equity. And to verify that value, we can just open the account tab in TWS. So here the balance is 1,013,000, something like that. So this is the cash balance here. and the account equity is around the same, and it contains, all the unrealized and unsettled positions, which is our value up here. So this data also updates real time. So for example, if I open a position, the account equity should update, because then we should have a position, that will continuously update the P&L, and as a result, the equity. So for example, I'm going to buy 100 contracts on XAU USD. So now I'm going to submit this trade. And actually, I'm just going to create a market order, so this trade will fill instantly. So now we have opened a 100 contract position on gold. And here we see that we have unrealized trades. So now if I run this cell again, we should see a change in the account equity, right? So now it's 3744. And by running this, we see 3685, which also reflects the unrealized P&L. So now let's just close this again. So after closing this, our account balance should then update, hopefully. So now I'm just sending a market order to close the position. And hopefully the account balance should update, and we see a new value here that has been updated. Let's now try to request open positions on our account. And here we have the method twsClient.getPositions. So by running this cell, now we know that our position on XAUSD 0, because we close a position. So what happens if we open a new trade? So I'm just going to buy again 100 contracts on XAUSD using a market order. So let me submit that. So now we have 100 contracts open on XUSD. So by running this function again, we see that our position on XUSD is 100. And now if I try to sell 200, so let's see what happens if we sell 200 contracts, then we expect this value to be negative. So let's send a market order and send 200. And now we have exposure of -100. So let's run this function again. And now we see that our position is -100. What you can also find is some other values such as market price, market value, average cost, unrealized P&L, and then the realized P&L. And again, this updates almost automatically. I just want to let you know that in TWS, the events about the unrealized P&L is a bit delayed, because TWS sends an update every 3 minutes. So this position or this unrealized P&L does not update real time. So let's now talk about financial contracts in TWS. So in order to request market data, historical data, and place trades, you need to define contracts in our TWS client. And so TWS client has a method to define a contract. And to get a contract, you will need the symbol name, the contract ID, and the exchange where this symbol is traded. So for example, if I want to trade my XAU USD contract, we can look up in our watch list. So if we go to description, you will find the symbol, which is XAU USD. Here we can find the contract ID. So you just copy that value here, and then you will find the exchange where the contract is traded. In this case, we're using the Smart Exchange by TWS, or Interactive Brokers rather. So here we are adding the Smart Exchange. So by running this, we are now defining this contract, and this contract can now be used to request something such as market data. So in this example, to request the market data, we can just run twsClient.request market data, and our input in this case would be the contract that we've just defined. So let's run this. So now we have subscribed to the market data for XAUSD, and so to retrieve the current price for XAUSD, we just call twsClient.getPrice, and then we just have to provide the symbol name. So by running this, we will now get the current price for XAUSD. Here you can find the bid price, the ask price, and then probably should also have the last price if it's provided. But because XAUSD is an OTC product, we don't have the last price here. But if you, for example, trade stocks or futures, this method will also provide the last price. Now to subscribe to the historical data, we can simply use the request historical data method. And then again, we provide the contract. Then we need to provide a time frame. In this case, it's 1 minute. And then we have optional parameters such as the candle type. So we can request data such as bid prices, ask prices, last prices, mid prices, and so on. And here I have provided a very simple comment, what time frames we accept as the input. The format of the input is the same as the TWS official documentation. And so in this case, we are retrieving the 1 minute time frame candle data, and it represents the bid price. So first we need to request the data. So let's run this. And now after requesting data, now the client is subscribed to historical data. So if we call TWS client.get OHLC, and then we need to provide again the symbol name and the time frame as the input, and then we will get the OHLC data. So now we see that here this is a dictionary with the timestamp and the open, high, low, close values. And of course we have the volume data, but again, because this is an OTC product, we don't get the volume data in this case. But again, if you trade stocks or futures, you will find the volume as well. I just want to let you know that this method get OHLC basically is accessing a dictionary on the back end that contains this data. So when you request historical data, you need to wait a few seconds until the data is initialized. Otherwise, when you call get OHLC right after, you might have missing data. But you can just wait, right? And then run this again, and then the data should be up to date. And to show you the OHLC data visualized, here I'm going to show you a quick example how to convert this dictionary into a pandas data frame. So now the dictionary is represented in a table format, and we can then apply some data analysis on this pandas data frame. And also I'm doing some data conversions because this is a timestamp format, and to convert it into a datetime format, we can just use pandas.toDateTime and convert this into a datetime object. So if we scroll to right here, I have converted this index column into a time column where we have datetime objects. And to show you what this looks like on a chart, we can use Plotly to plot a line chart. And by adding this data frame as the input, where we have time on the x-axis and the close price on the y-axis, we can then create a figure that looks something like this. And this is the 1 minute close price chart on XAUUSD. So this is now the exciting part where we are now placing orders to the TWS platform, and this way we can basically trade using our Python client. So in this example, I'm going to show you a market order. So a market order is an order that sends an instant order to the market to execute at the current bid or ask. And here, for example, I want to sell, and let's say I want to sell 100 contracts on XAUUSD. So right now we are minus 50. So if we sell another 100, we should be minus 150. So now let me run this. So this is the method send market order, where we add the contract as the input, then the action is sell, and with the quantity 100. So now our order has been filled and we are minus 150. So let's say we want to buy, and let's say we want to close a position. I can buy 150 contracts. So by running this, now we see that we went from minus 150 to 0. And if I run this cell again, then we should be long 150 contracts. So this is a market order, and a market order again buys at the current market price. Let's say we want to set a limit order. So for limit orders, we want to buy at a predefined price. So right now the price of gold is 3,388. And let's say I want to buy gold, and let's say I want to buy 100 contracts at, for example, 3,000. So now we are setting the limit below the current market price. And yeah, so I just have to replace the quantity and action here. And the difference between the limit, a limit or market order is that we have to provide a limit price as an input. So here we are using the method send limit order. And again, the inputs are the XAUSD contract, the action, which is buy or sell, the quantity or basic number of shares, or units, and then the fourth input is the limit price. So let's run this. And now we see that we have created a limit order at 3,000, right? So this is our limit order. And if we look on the chart, we can also see that the limit order is also visible on our price chart here. Now to cancel our order, we can just use TWS client.cancel order, and then we need to provide the order ID. So whenever we place an order, the send limit order or market order will return the order ID. In this case, I did not print it out. So let me print out, or actually I can just, print it like that. And here we have the order ID 22. Let me just cancel these orders. So we create a new one. So now I've created another limit order with the order ID 23. So now we pass 23 into cancel order ID, and I have saved this, value down here. And because this is a dictionary, 1 second, I need to, add the key order ID. So by running this function, now I've canceled this limit order. So I place the limit order, and then I can just cancel it. And here we have another method which will retrieve our open orders. So let's say I open another limit order. So now TWS client.getOrders will show all the orders that have been placed during the session. So here we have also the historical ones, and then to find the current open order, here we see that the status is submitted. So it is basically this order right here, and that way you can keep track of all the orders that you are placing through our Python client. In this last example, I'm going to show you how you can retrieve the trades that you have placed today through our Python app. So by using get trade report, we get all the trade data placed from our script. So for example, we have data such as the symbol, the time, on which account, the action whether we buy or sell, the quantity, how much we bought or sold, price, commission, and the commission currency. So that way you can just create a trade report to evaluate your trading. Now this is it for a video, and thank you very much for your attention. If you want to download the code and test out the scripts yourself, I will post the code on my website in the download section, and this will be available for my website members. So thank you again, and see you in the next video.